know I said I was gone, but while I get the Twitch thing started, we are going to still be posting here on YouTube. And what I am going to talk with you about today is simply OC crafting. How to do it where it fits in your world, basically. Or in the world you want it to fit in. If it's not like your own IP. I guess it wouldn't be an OC. Still might. So, the first thing you want to be able to do, okay, I guess that's just like that. It's a New Jersey plate. Let's start with the truck. The truck's going to be easier, in my opinion, my humble opinion. So we're going to take this off, there's no back bumper or tailgate to worry about. And we're going to run over here and start fixing things. I always like to use as much of the original as I can. Ooh. There we go. Now we can get into putting some more parts on the body, and then I will tackle the destitute that is the suspension and exhaust. But while I do that, why don't we have a little chit chat with, I'll be honest, I'm just one of everything here. One of everything. So, when you're looking at your OC, you have to ask yourself a few questions. How do they interact with the world? How much of the world are they familiar with? That's a really important part. If they don't know something, and you as the writer or role player, if you're in an RP, need to convey that something is afoot without directly going, aha, you know, this information that I would have no way of knowing. One thing I always like to do, especially when I'm writing, is try to use foreshadowing to the best of my ability. Using characters that would know. Like, and it's important to... Oh, this doesn't have a fuel tank. It's important to really be able to place someone that does know. Like, okay, our MC doesn't. That doesn't mean nobody does, that just means the MC doesn't. And you need to have someone who, if they don't know directly, they have, like, they're on the train of thought to find it out. Especially if it's, like, plot related. But before we go too heavily into plot, much like I'm going to be jumping around the restoration of this old, it's kind of a kit bash between old trucks. I don't really rock vintage trucks too often. I'm just doing this because this was at the salvage yard. I'll probably end up selling the Jeep, to be totally honest with you. And just grabbing something else that would be a little bit more fun to talk about and work on while I do that. You know what? I'm going to do that. Actually, no. I'm going to move this to my parking spot because I do want to restore every Jeep in this game. This is just my test thing, so I don't have, like, a limit on funds. So, since we have that, why don't we go to the junkyard and see what we can find? This is Car Mechanic Simulator 2, by the way, if you're not aware. Or 2021, I just call it 2. But when you're making your OC, make them someone notable. You don't want to run into the problem of, why am I talking about this person? Because, quite frankly, oh, what's this? Well, it's junk. But when you're eyeing out what would be good, maybe instead of going, I really wish there was a character here in this scene, expand out why they are in this scene. Ooh. A ratted out Mustang. That might be fun to fix up. We'll keep you in mind. Might go to salvage cards if I don't see anything too enticing here. Little traffic mobile here. But when you're looking at your OC, ooh, what is this? This is the 2003 Saxon. Okay, so this is a fictional car. You know what? Yeah. We'll take that. Okay, so I'm going to kind of jump between the two vehicles, and I'll be doing a lot on the screen. But if you guys are just using this to vibe, do homework or whatever, that's cool. We definitely love seeing that. This is where the truck is right now. I have not tackled suspension. That's going to be next. We're moving this into the second spot. Not even going to bother trying to start it. We already know it doesn't start. Does not even have wheels. We're just pulling off the doors on this guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Door. We're going to go ahead and remove the bumpers. Alright, and that's pretty bare bones. So, we move this over to the second spot. And we have restored it. Now, I haven't cleaned it, so it still looks pretty gnarly. But there's no rust on it now. At least on the body. But when you're making your OC, the reason why I say make them somebody notable is you don't want an OC that is like, my gods, why are we watching this person? The last thing your OC needs to be is boring. There are so many characters that are native to whatever genre you are doing that making the OC boring just means people are going to want to, hear stories about their favorite characters, which is totally fair. These. Do I have to pull? I'm just going to pull this off. Taking out the shock absorber. We'll go lower arm. No, we won't. Is that stupid sway bar? But what you want to do is give them quirks, give them flaws, give them strengths. I see a lot of time people get really bummed out about a character having a flaw. And just because you put it in the beginning doesn't mean it has to stay there. First of all, you can have your character overcome it. That's a great narrative tactic, is to give your character kind of a sense of purpose and agency. And giving them the sense of purpose and agency also, well, sort of kickstart the story. Like, okay, I'm gonna take a few of my OCs, for example. One such OC I made was for Star Wars, Angela. I kind of wanted to do this Sith that didn't know... This may sound stupid to some of you, but didn't know the Sith were evil. Because her Sith master wanted to keep her in the dark. And basically just use her as a force user that could be like blunt force impact against whatever she didn't like. And Angela was actually a pretty decent person. Like, you know, she was a scientist that helped the Empire in renewable energy. Loved the color red, so she didn't really question too much, to be totally honest. She was a little naive in that. And she didn't really realize she was being used by the Empire. Because she didn't stop and think, like, you know, oh, hey, why are my sabers running out of power on the Kyber crystals? I'm speed running her story, so I am just jumping over things. I will do a video on her if you guys want, but that's not why we are here today. She is one of the few Star Wars OCs I made that I really like. A lot of my OCs, I'll be honest, I don't realistically care about. Because Star Wars OCs are so hit and miss for me. And essentially, if your last name isn't Skywalker in the Star Wars verse, you're doing nothing. In my opinion. I've watched the movies in the Clone Wars show, so if there are some pretty badass people that I don't know about, don't hate me. But what I found out very quickly is the Sith wanted to gain power for themselves. And the way I started making Angela, and this is kind of how I make all my OCs, is I start off with what do they know. I don't start off with who they are, because your life experiences often dictate who you are. So I was like, before I do anything else, I want to just figure out who these people are. And by that, I'm going to figure out their life. Okay, I didn't want to, but it looks like we are definitely going to have to go into the parts shop and grab that. Because ours is at like 8%. We need a new one. We'll grab bushings. I forgot to grab those. Whoops. Silly me. But after I figure out what they know, I figure out what they want to do in life. And I'm just gonna grab 50 of each, because we'll need a bunch of these boys. And sometimes that question leads to more questions. Okay, why do they want to do this? What's compelled them to go down this route? You know, if they were somebody that led a destitute life where they didn't have much, you know, are they doing this for self-gain or are they doing this for selfless reasons? If they're someone who's had a more privileged life, again, are they doing this for self-gain or are they doing this for selfless reasons? Because I firmly believe that you can have an upbringing that's like, hey, my life was shit. I want to make sure no one else runs through that. Or just, hey, my life was shit. I'm going to make sure I never run through that. And that's both options are totally fair. Let's see. Pretty sure I'm gonna need new. I'll just put that on there twice, so I know to buy 2 of them. Because I already knew that was coming. And now let's do the other side. Suspension up here looking a lot better. We're seeing a lot less rust. We like that. But when you're tackling the problems that your character is going to face, remember that your character at this point in time is a work in progress. You're allowed to throw ideas out and restart. Lord, you're going to throw ideas out and restart tons of times. Especially if you're writing this character for a purpose. Angela was written for an RP. I wanted to have a Sith interact with the Jedi that didn't know anything about being a Sith or a Jedi. So the whole premise is I wanted to flip the Sith idea on its head and have a Sith that really wasn't bad, just called themselves a Sith because they didn't know what else to call them. Because these were the only Force users they've ever met. So, you know, oh hey, this Toffley, or I forget what her Sith Master's name is now. Oh, that's bad. This Toffley is calling herself a Sith, and she's stupid powerful in the Force, so Force users are called Sith. Now, did she do research? Yeah, but at the point in time, it was also like, oh, I signed up for the wrong crowd. Oops, how do I get out of here without getting killed? And she was sympathetic to people not liking Sith, but she also was like, hey, like, no offense, I haven't done that shit, so I don't know why you're bitching at me. And to some degree, that is narcissistic. Like, hey, you know, you need to understand generations of people were harmed by the Jedi, just as there are several instances like this in real life. Not of Jedi and Sith, but of other groups. That being said, killing the son for the sins of the father is also wrong. And both viewpoints can be slightly askew. Like, everyone always seems to think like there is one person who's right, one person who's wrong. I'm just gonna add these bolts to the shopping list now, because I know darn well probably gonna need it. Alrighty. But when people see your character, give them a reason to go, I want to follow what you're doing. I want to keep up with you. I want to know, shoot, what you're about. Why you're the way you are. And I will be the first to admit, I often do not like villainous characters. For the sole purpose of, to me, I don't think they hardly ever have a point of, I was wronged, let me go murder a hospital full of orphans, because that's going to solve anything. Like, no, that's not. Getting to these springs. Screw it. Is there anything? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get 4 of these because I think I'm gonna need 2 for the other car. Actually, hold up. Before we start. We'll have to go through the. Oh, these are drum brakes. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I do not assemble drum brakes very often. Okay, other side. But when your character says what their message is, kind of keep that in mind throughout your entire journey, because your character doesn't want to lose their message. For example, Angela's message is don't read a book by its cover. Yeah, it's a simple message. But it's one people still need to hear, because yes, she's a Sith, but she doesn't know anything about what the Sith have done. I don't know why I'm bothering to repair these. I'm just going to get all new. That's why. And that. And that. Please spray rear end. I'm gonna get a new one of those. And she had to take some responsibility for the crew that she willingly signed on to, but it's not like, hey, we're gonna flog you for Jeremy's actions. You know, that doesn't make sense. Like, hello? And not every OC is for every person. Just gonna be 100% honest. Some people are going to get more aggravated that certain characters are not punished more, or punished too harshly, or just straight don't like how someone's treated, or don't like someone's ideals. There's so different many reasons. So different many? I was just like, wait a minute, I said that wrong. Different many. I'm sorry, I'm not stupid, I swear. I totally just... I totally just said that. Oh well. And we're gonna kind of hold off on the rest of this breaks because we are going to swap gears and start going after new pieces. And whenever you see an OC that doesn't make quite sense to you, it's okay. It really is. But let's get back to how to craft yours. What did I just bought a filter when I needed a pump. I'm stupid. Pretty sure this is a standard pump, but I'm gonna buy both because that I have no idea what the other car is. All right, so this is starting to come together pretty nicely. We've done the body, the suspension. We're gonna be doing the drivetrain and moving to the transmission soon on this. This guy, let's take a peek at what he's gonna be like. Yep, that's what I thought. Anyway, going on to the OCs. You know what? Hold up. Let's swap. Let's swap games real quick. Let's swap